Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock. This is the Football Terrace. We're here for the next hour or so in the big build-up to Chelsea versus Leicester City in the Premier League. Tomorrow night, 8:15 kickoff. What a game it's going to be. Liverpool's last-minute Alisson-inspired winner last night against West Brom has kept the season well and truly alive for everybody. That's neutral football fans looking for entertainment, right through to Chelsea, Leicester, and Liverpool, all scrapping it out for two final Champions League spots that are up for grab. Man United guaranteed a Champions League place, as we know. Of course, Man City are, because they're champions. They're going to be scrapping it out. And what a midweek of fixtures there are. Tomorrow night, we're going to be previewing it soon. Anita will be with us. Daniel will be joining us, along with an array of other Chelsea fans and neutrals. We'll be opening up the lines for you to call in and have your say with us in this opening half an hour. So you can talk about this game. You can talk about the build-up to it. Also focusing on Haaland. Some news has emerged from the continent today that both Man City and Chelsea, we focus on Chelsea because they were always the front runners, and this is a Chelsea preview, to maybe land Haaland and bring him to the Premier League. Reports from across the continent have suggested that the front runners are now Real Madrid and Barcelona. It appears, according to these reports, that is what Haaland has set his heart on, moving to Spain. They're not in a position to be able to do it this year, and he feels that he wants to respect Dortmund and stay for another season. There is also partly in this report an element of Haaland and his representatives feel that Dortmund are being disrespected by Manchester City and Chelsea in the way in which they've pursued him. I don't quite understand that element and that part of the claim, because they're not doing anything outside of the ordinary. But is this just jostering? One of the main sources to this information is a Spanish outlet. Are they just jostering and trying to keep this, the Barcelona and the Real Madrid fans on side? Many people can still see a Haaland move progressing, as it says here. And one of the headlines, it says Chelsea. That's actually the wrong headline to the wrong article that's been put on there. So I'm just going to remove that one straight out. But the Haaland move, we'll go through that in more detail. We're going to take your calls on it as well. Lang and Sweet here says Chelsea fans deluded and others deluded. Kepa, class goalkeeper, top 3 in the Premier League. That is a very interesting take. Lang and Sweet. In relation to this situation, it truly is. Let's do some more of your comments here. Haaland for 130 million to City ain't happening. Well, it appears, according to this report, that he isn't going to be going anywhere this summer, but we shall see. Let's do some more of these comments coming. Good afternoon, Twisted Bubba. Mohammed here says Leicester City are bigger than Spurs. And do you know what we'll do? We always say this. It's my stream, but your show. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to also have a debate on who makes up the top 6. Who makes up the top 6? We know Man City are definitely in it. Chelsea, Liverpool, definitely in it. We're voting for the final 3 spaces. The team with the lowest amount of votes is out. And we're going to put Man United in it, Arsenal, Leicester, Tottenham. The team with the lowest votes loses. We're going to get that poll set up at some point in this show, and we're going to put it on the Football Terrace community page. I think Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool have to be in it as a foregone conclusion. Premier League and Champions League winners in recent years. Champions League finalists this year in Chelsea. I think they're in it as a prerequisite. The others, there's a debate to be had. So we're going to have that debate on the show as well today. We want to take your calls on that. Want to know what you're thinking, feeling, and saying. Another thing about the Haaland deal. Now, I want to take you through this. This is staggering. So I was looking at some statistics, and look at this. Since Haaland made his debut, for Borussia Dortmund, he has played in 50. I want to make sure I get this right. He has played in 58 games. You can see that in yellow, just over here. You see I'm moving the mouse on it. 58 games. In that time, he has scored, here in yellow, 55 goals. In that same time period, Chelsea's strike force of Tammy Abraham, Olivier Giroud and Timo Werner have played 151 games between them and only managed 49 goals. So if any Chelsea fan was deliberating as to whether or not buying a striker, buying a top-class striker, isn't of the utmost importance, simply look at this. Chelsea strike force in the last 18 months of football have played 3 times the amount of games as Haaland and not scored more goals than him. And to rub a little bit of salt into the wound here, Timo Werner has played 49 games for Chelsea. Haaland's only played 58 for Dortmund and scored 55 goals. He is an absolute colossus. An absolute colossus, a phenom, a freak of nature in many ways. That, for me, should tell anybody out there the need to sign a top-class striker. And Haaland is one of those individuals. Look at the levels. I'm at one guy with more than 3 players who, by the way, have played 151 games between them for Chelsea. It's an absolute madness. It really is. And, of course, he's added a trophy to that now as well, winning the Pokal at the weekend. So there's no more, what's he won, though? What's he done? That, for me, is just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And if I'm a Chelsea fan and I'm reading this news this afternoon that you may not be in for him, my first reaction would be, well, who else are we looking at? Because to go into next season with no recognized prolific goal scorer, you're in legitimate trouble. Legitimate trouble. There's no doubt about it. Grey Wolf Dinner here says, I personally believe we are going to go with Kai Havertz as the striker next season as these players seem out of reach. Terry, show Werner's stats last season if you want to compare. Why? Why am I doing that? Because they were both in the Bundesliga. You can do that, and I think that's a fair challenge. But we're looking at what Chelsea's players have done this season. Haaland's also delivered in the Champions League. He delivers internationally. He's a superstar player, and that for me is absolutely key. Alex here says that's ridiculously good. And it is ridiculously good. It's out of this world. Absolutely out of this world. There's no doubt about it. Musa here says some Chelsea players are totally lazy. And obviously players lose hope on Timo Werner, which is not going to help. As well as the blame is surely to Thomas Tuchel for not playing our 11. And it was a total mess. I think you're referring to the weekend. Listen, Tuchel has to take some blame when you lose games. All managers do. But do you know what I see when it comes to Timo Werner? I don't think his Chelsea teammates trust him. They don't pass him the ball. They don't. There just doesn't seem to be a togetherness there. And I think that would be a real worry for me as a Chelsea fan moving forward. There's no doubt. I want to do some more of your comments here. A lot of you are talking about the top 4. We're going to go into that in a bit more detail soon. United should be there with Liverpool, top 6, Liverpool, City and Chelsea. A lot of people agreeing that Man United should definitely be in the top 6. I'm trying to appear impartial here, so I'm putting Man United into the voting so we can get that done. I had Cam. I love Cam. He messaged me saying, why are Arsenal the ones that are out? We are still going to be covering the top 6 plus 1. That's going to be our thing next year. You're all going to vote today for who the plus 1 is. And if somebody's not watching this stream today for whatever reason, that's on them for missing out. You should never be missing a stream. Grey Wolf Dinner says, I hate Spurs, but Spurs are bigger than Leicester. So it's top 6. The best 6 teams in the Prem over, say, the last 3. We'll do it over a 3-year period. Every 3 years, we'll look to review it. And this is the first review. It's going to be 2021. We'll review it again at the end of 2024. That's how we'll do it, I think. We're going to put the poll up in a minute. But I want your reasons as to why. Realist is Terry, Haaland for 150 mil is the worst deal in history. Do you know what, Realist? When I look at these statistics, I say not. When you look at the fact that he has more goals in the last 18 months than the Chelsea strike force combined, I say not. I say it is money well spent. Money well spent. There's no doubt about that. in my mind whatsoever. But everyone's entitled to their own view. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Keep them coming in. Get your super chat questions in as well that we can pose to the panel and the callers that are coming up that little bit later. Still an opportunity every day to go into the prize draw with the likes of Ginger Fury. We are, by the way, yesterday, we didn't quite hit the number of likes that was required for... Who was the person that guessed the percentage right yesterday? It was Ahmed, but Ahmed's name will go into the prize draw at the end of this month. I said D1, Ginger Fury's in there, along with Arjan. I'm just remember, I've got the list in front of me off the top of my head. So at the end of the month, one of you is going to be lucky enough to win a shirt of your choice. But get your super chat questions into us now. We want to know what's on your minds. And do you know who I haven't seen Mark on here in a while? Australia Mark used to phone up. Where are you, Mark? Are you well and safe? That's all I want to know in relation to that. A comment from Syed Alim here says statistical facts show you can't call Haaland overrated. You just can't. Anyone who calls Haaland overrated doesn't have a good explanation. I haven't heard one yet. That really makes sense, barring I don't like him. And you not liking him isn't a good enough reason. Do you know what I mean? It's like trying to tell me that Drake isn't a good music artist because you don't like him. Or you telling me that the Beatles are no good because you don't like their music. You know, these are not... Your feelings on the matter don't count for him being good or bad. He's a colossal phenom. That's it. Comment here that says, if Chelsea lose out on top 4 in the Champions League final, I say Oli has had a better season than Tuchel. And you're entitled to that. You're entitled to think that. Terry, I totally disagree with that. I think his name is Salt saying Kante not good enough for United when he is on, but surely he's I don't quite know what you're saying there, Alex. Try and rewrite that for me. Maybe it's my brain not working too good. But there we go. Let's do some more of your comments that are coming through. The strongest civilian here says, I watch Haaland, and without a doubt, he's one of the most clinical strikers in the world at this moment. Drake really isn't good, though. Is he not? Is he not? He does well. He does. I wouldn't mind Drake's career. I'm cool with that. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. If he signs, what's the bare minimum for Tuchel? If Haaland signs for Chelsea, if they have to, with 2 games remaining in the league, I'll give them 3 at a push. They have to be in the race to win the title, bare minimum. With a striker as good as him, with a squad as deep, as technical, and as gifted as Tuchel already has, with him being one of the top 4 or 5 managers in the world, there is no excuse. None. Even with 3 or 4 injuries, there is no excuse. Has to be competing strongly for that title. One of our members here says, Haaland is exactly what Chelsea need. Tuchel would use him better than any other club. And they will. I mean, you just know it's what they need. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Phenom. Terry, who was my man of the match? I gave my man of the match to Thomas. And I picked him because I felt that I won't say it's in the right way. Young and inexperienced, and he grew into that game and just got better and better throughout. And I thought he thoroughly deserved it. You could have given it to Kasper Schmeichel, of course, Tielemans for his goal. I thought Ndidi was excellent. I thought Fofana was out of this world. But I gave it to Thomas, and maybe that was sentimental because he's young, he's inexperienced, never played in a game of that magnitude, and he just got better throughout, put in a hell of a performance. And yeah, that's who I gave it to. That was who my favorite player on the day was. There we go. Someone did get that right. Their name is in the list to go into the prize draw at the end of the month as well. And if you want to get yourself onto that list today, send me in the best super chat question you can, and the winner will be announced very, very at the end of the month. Man like Slens here Oh no, I clicked on the wrong one. Says, I couldn't believe this when I heard it. Werner has 3 open play goals in his last 50 games. Wow, I didn't know that. That is awful. And you got to think as well, I know his goal against Real Madrid was important, but it wasn't, he didn't make that, like he tapped in after all the hard work from Havertz and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? So like if you scrap that goal away just because he didn't do anything to earn it, right? I don't know. It's terrible, isn't it, Slens? Bruv, that is terrible. We've got the panel coming up in about 15 minutes' time. Between now and then, I want you all to come on and have your say. So we're talking about the Haaland deal. I want your thoughts in the build-up to this mammoth game, this win or bust game tomorrow night. And I say win or bust because I think it's absolutely imperative that both Chelsea and Leicester go for a win in this game, because a win secures them. A win secures them a Champions League place. Going for a draw still leaves them both at risk, especially if Liverpool beat Burnley, which most experts expect them to do. Is going to be huge. We're going to share the link now for you to come on and have your say. I'm going to share it on the Discord server today. I'm going to put it on the Discord server. I'm going to put it into the Chelsea chat room for you to come on. Now, actually, you know what? In honor of Leicester, Leicester won the FA Cup the other day. So I'm putting them into the Leicester chat room. There's obviously less traffic in there as well. So you'll see it there. The StreamYard link is shared. Get yourselves on, Slens. It'd be nice to talk to you, bro, and have your say. We'll give you all a few minutes to come on and chit-chat. Remember, we've got Daniel and Anita. Maybe Have Hope coming on a little bit later on in the show as well. And yes, the Discord is banging. The Football Terrace Discord is absolutely sensational. Well, I don't know how you know, but thank you. Thank you. Cheers. How do you know? Do you know what? When I've been getting out the shower recently, I've always felt like there's been eyes on me. But we'll see. There we go. Have Hope is in HH from the football. Yes, Have Hope is HH. He may be coming on late. He's got the link. He said he's going to try. He said he's going to try and have a say. Terry, you look old. I am old, I suppose, relatively speaking. I'm very old compared to some of you. I'm young compared to other people, I suppose. I'm not putting up some of these comments that are on there. You're funny guys. Funny guys. But there we go. I'm going to put the poll up as well right now. I'm literally going to go to the Football Terrace. I'm going to go to the Football Terrace community page and post this on YouTube right now before we motor forward anymore. I'm going to do that now, and I'm going to put the link up there, and I'm going to see who comes out on top. That's what we're going to do today. So the teams that are in the voting, voting for who is in the top 6. Voting for who's in the top 6. So we're putting Man United, because I think it's fair. Arsenal. Wrong button, Terry. Arsenal. In Leicester City. And we're going to put... they're all in there. I pressed the wrong button. And Tottenham. Okay, so I'm going to write this. Vote now. What to use. Who should join Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea? Stop again. And Chelsea in the EPL top 6. Vote now. At least this way, it's not me making an autocratic decision. It's being voted for by the people, by the terrace community. So who should join Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea in the EPL top 6? Vote now. That is available on the Football Terrace community page right now on YouTube. So go and get across there and get your voting done. Get your voting done. There we go. Some of your comments make right. We're gonna go to some comments now. First up on the show, we're gonna get Ellie on to have his say with us right now. Ellie, welcome back to the terrace. What do you want to say?
Hi, Terry. I just want to answer. Can you see me?
Yes, bro.
I just want to answer your question about like the big six who should be in it. Why don't you make it a big seven? Because there's 7 spots to qualify in the Premier League for Europe, like the new conference league and all that. So why just make it a big seven? Because Arsenal and Tottenham haven't been good for a couple of seasons. I agree with that, but they're still big clubs. They're still too big to be dropped out of that big six. And Leicester deserve to be in it.
I understand. I understand your point, but it wouldn't be fun if we had them all in there. It's nice to it's nice to put one in the +1 category. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just a bit of banter, mate. It's just a bit of banter.
Yeah, like I get it. Okay, if I had to choose one to go in, uh, it's difficult. I'm thinking between Arsenal and Leicester. To be fair, not even Tottenham.
Well, right now, just let everyone know the voting has started. Man United have already winning.
Obviously, Man United are the biggest club in England. I'm a Chelsea fan saying that. Like
62% of the vote, United are in. In second place, currently in the top 6, Leicester with 23%.
Wow.
In third place, Arsenal with 14%. Spurs have just 1% of the vote right now. Do you know how bad that is? Even what's his name? Even Lawrence Fox got more votes than that in the London general election recently. So bear that in mind, people. And
every time I like comment on like, oh, big seven, everyone's like, no, I could just keep it a big six and remove Tottenham. Everyone wants Tottenham out. Everyone is like, and I agree with that maybe because they haven't won anything. Like the only reason I put Tottenham in the big six is because I want the team that I hate the most in it.
I do hear you on that. I do hear you on that, bro. As a Chelsea fan, just looking ahead to tomorrow night, how are you feeling about the game?
I really want to win. I want revenge. I literally, like, I'm a 23-year-old man, Terry, and I literally cried a bit watching it on TV. The FA Cup final. Just that goal, because I was so happy. Like, it's 1-1, now we can win it. And then got cancelled by VAR. I got, like, a bit of tears in my eyes, let's say. So I want to win. I want to beat Leicester. I also want to finish in that top 4. For me, at the moment, finishing in that top 4, I'm focusing more on than the Champions League final. Because the Champions League final will take care of itself. It's a one-game, massive game. But I want to beat Leicester and Villa to finish in that top 4. Especially Liverpool got lucky yesterday in that late goal against West Brom and all that. So
I completely understand where you're coming from. I think that we're going to talk about it on the preview that's coming up really soon. But from my point of view, I feel like Chelsea need to forget about the Champions League final right now because not making top 4, I think puts too much pressure on winning that final, which is what I don't think you need to be there or want to be there at this point. But Ellie, listen, great call, mate. Thank you very much for coming on, having your say. Speak to you soon, my brother. All the best. Terry. Thank you. Love Liverpool here says, Terry, I really think that if Chelsea bottle the Champions League, Roman will buy Haaland and not just Haaland. It's Chelsea, City, Paul, United, Leicester, and Spurs for the top 4 is what Love Liverpool. Why did I say Love Island? Love Liverpool has got to say there. We've got another super chat that's just come in. It says Manchester City, Man United, Chelsea, Tottenham, Leicester, Liverpool, top 6 +1. If West Ham United, he hasn't even included Arsenal as the +1. Keep your votes coming in. That's available right now over on the community page on the terrace. And yeah, United are still killing it with 59%. Leicester in second, so they look a shoe-in right now. Arsenal in third, Spurs with just 3% of that vote right now. Next on the show with me, we're going to have Grey Wolf Dinner is going to be here. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, doing good, yeah.
Good. What do you want to say, bro?
First of all, I think Tottenham should be the +1, because they've won one trophy this century, and Leicester have won two. So I think Leicester should be moved into the top 6, and Tottenham should be the +1. Do you agree
No,
with that?
no. Listen, I'm not against it. Someone asked me why I put Arsenal as the +1. I just said it was for banter. There was no real rhyme or reason or anything along those lines. It was just a bit of a laugh, really. I agree
We
with.
all know Arsenal are the worst team right at this moment, but they've still won lots of FA Cups, even recently. So you can't discount that,
No,
despite them being terrible. You know what I mean?
Mate, I totally agree with that. On Chelsea news, we've got Bashar here with a super chat that says Terry Haaland is a similar type number 9 to Drogba. We've got a lot of other people saying that if you don't win the Champions League or make Champions League, Roman thinks we'll go big. Where do you stand on this? Is a Haaland type striker needed regardless?
I do want a striker, but it's going to be so difficult to get. I can't. I think Chelsea are going to probably just stick with what we have. To be honest, I'd love to be able to get him, but it's going to be so difficult. I think he's going to Spain. To be honest,
He may very well. I mean, that's what the reports today are suggesting, that Spain is his preferred destination. He's going to wait until next summer when they can afford it, as an example, which I suppose it is a bit of a shame to all the Premier League clubs that are looking at him. But then there are other options out there. There's Lukaku, there's Martinez, there's Andre Silva, there's Harry Kane. How important is it that Thomas Tuchel is given a prolific number 9 striker next season?
I think it could be the difference between just challenging for the league and actually winning it. Maybe could be. I think if Harry Kane, we'd win the league if we got Harry Kane. I'll say that, but it's not going to happen. The rivalry's too big.
I hear you on that. Listen, Grey Wolf Dinner, thank you for coming on, mate, and having your say. Top man. Thank you. Next up, True Blue 21 is going to be on the show with us. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on? You all right, bro?
Yes, I'm good, man. What are you here to say, mate?
I was just going to talk about Chelsea's transfers. I think if we can get Haaland, it will be the best option. But to be honest, I wouldn't mind going for all these other attacking flair players like Jadon Sancho, even Felix, which you never know how he's going to fit into the Premier League. But as far as Chelsea go, they definitely need a lot of additions in the creative and finishing area sort of thing.
Yeah, there is no doubt about it. I mean, we put up the statistics earlier when you look at your strike force. I was an article I was reading today, and sort of Chelsea legend Alan Hudson was sort of suggesting that, Tuchel might need to change his approach slightly. After two games running of a lack of clinical edge and a lack of creativity against Leicester, he thinks it might be dangerous to play in the same way again against Leicester this weekend. And I think that I don't know if he can change his way. I don't know if he necessarily should change his style. I just think he needs better individuals in those positions. Makes sense.
More options. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. What's more important to you, do you think? Extra creativity or a goal scorer?
I think it's definitely creativity, because if you can see the way Chelsea's playing right now, they haven't got that cutting edge with the final pass. It's rare to see maybe a little cutback from Pulisic on the wings or Reece James, but to be honest, we don't have that Cesc Fabregas / type of player or Coutinho type of player that creates. Hazard was that guy, and we haven't replaced him. So
yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you completely on that. I really, really do. I think it's. I feel like I want to make sure I say this in the right way. I look at Chelsea right now, and I feel like you're almost there, and it's just that goal scorer up front. And I think what you'll find is, when you've got a dangerous player, Bruno Fernandes is one of them at Man United. He stands out to me. He attracts so many defenders towards him because of how good he is. It creates space for others. If you throw a Haaland on that pitch, he's going to have 1, 2, 3 players at a time surrounding him. That isn't going to free up space and opportunity for Havertz, opportunity for Mount. And it's going to make everybody else look better. Not because they need Haaland or a Kane to unlock them, but it just does that. And what we know, that's what people say, Bruno plays better when Pogba's in the team. Yeah, and Pogba plays better when Bruno's in the team. Why? Because you can't mark them both out the game. You can't double up on both of them.
No
and
way,
not
yeah.
Greenwood's
great.
and Cavani's free, and that's where that's why City is so good. And I remember, back in the day, I remember watching this press conference, and somebody said to Fergie, "Do you have any special plans for any particular players?" And he made a laugh and a joke and said, "Yeah, the special plans for Mascherano, as opposed to not being Messi." And then he laughed it off and just said, "Look, there's no point having a special plan, because if you put all your eggs in one basket of like stopping Messi," he said, he just started naming all the other world-class players that will pick you off and destroy you. He said it's just impossible because there's too much quality spread across the team.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
And I think Chelsea are very close to maybe not being as good as that great Barcelona team, but I think you're very, very close to being in a position where teams can't mark you out of games as such. They can't just. I remember playing you a few times when it was like, let's just put Ander Herrera on Chelsea, and if we stop Hazard. Now that's a poor position to be in as a football club. You need to be in a position where, great, stop Mason Mount today, but yet we know Havertz and Haaland and Ziyech and Pulisic are all going to step up and deliver. And I think that's where Tuchel needs help in terms of money being spent to get you to that position. And but I think you will. How are you feeling ahead of tomorrow night's game? You confident you'll win?
I think we have to win. Am I confident? Not really. But I'm literally hoping that Leicester will have no energy left from winning the FA Cup final. So fingers crossed. That's the only thing I can say. I'm not so confident, to be honest.
I hear you. I get that. Like, I understand where you're at, but hoping maybe there's that FA Cup hangover for them and everything else.
1 point. That's the thing. Just 1 point. Like, that's not enough to have a breather. And with all the inexperience, the new players, they haven't been there before. It showed in the FA Cup final, to be honest.
Well, this is what you've got to worry about. Not winning tomorrow for Chelsea means if Liverpool beat Burnley, they go in front of you.
Yeah.
And then you are then hoping that Leicester, for instance, drop points on the final day of the season to the biggest bottlers in Premier League history in Tottenham. It's expecting, and do you really think Tottenham, think about this logically, are Tottenham really going to go into a game against Leicester
on the last game,
knowing that if they don't win, you don't make the Champions League? I think there'll be outrage from their fans if they beat Leicester. I think they'd be fuming.
After what we did to them in 2017.
Yeah, and then that pressure, the thing is, then it's that pressure, isn't it? If you miss out on top four, the pressure of that Champions League final just quadruples.
To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. In the space of 2 weeks, it's just flipped on its head. To be honest, and we're not at that spot we was at now. It's like we need to just, I don't know, this game tomorrow, we need to get it right.
Mate, I hear you 100. I hear you 110%, bro. Listen, thanks for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate it, mate.
Cheers, bro.
And thank you. Great call. Keep hitting that like and that share button for us. Monsieur Ahmed here says top 6 plus 1 is Liverpool, City, United, Leicester, Spurs, Chelsea, and the plus 1 should be Doncaster Rovers because of Aaron. I like that. It's quite a good one. There's a comment here. I want to make sure I read the name out right. It's an obscure name. GD writes, cool. I'm not getting caught out like KJ yesterday. Being dyslexic normally means I don't get caught out because I double read and triple read everything to not sound stupid. Tammy Abraham to Leicester for 40 million. 40 mil. Come on, bro. He's not worth 40 mil. If you get 40 mil for Tammy Abraham, honestly, I will bow down. I will admit that you're the greatest run club in the world. If you get 40 mil for him, there's no way, in my opinion, you're going to be getting that kind of money in for him. Daniel's now with us as we look ahead to this massive, massive game tomorrow night. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. Nah, hey, before I start about Chelsea, we can get 40 mil for Tammy. Iwobi went to Everton for 40 million. You look at Oxlade-Chamberlain went to Liverpool for 35 million. Like, Tammy Abraham's a proven goal scorer. He scored 15 goals in the Premier League last year. You're big on goal scorers being the hottest commodity. Tammy Abraham is a commodity for a team like Leicester and West Ham and whatnot. And Vardy's on his last leg. They're looking for a goal scorer. So you never know. I think we can. I'm not saying he's worth it. I'm just saying, according to the market, it's possible. It shouldn't be seen as a surprise, innit?
I do get where you're coming from with that. I can't imagine them doing it. But you never know. You never know it. You never know in football. But tomorrow night, mate, big game.
Yeah, man. I think I'm just even numb to it all right now. Like, I just want to get the game over and done with, try and win the game as we should. The FA Cup final, it still hurts, man. It's still annoying that my team didn't show up and didn't wanna perform in an FA Cup final on the biggest stage. Like, so many things that go into it, but you have to put that in the back of your head now and just go into this game, fresh pair of eyes, fresh pair of legs, go into this game and try and win the game, man. I think there's a lot of pressure on Tuchel's head, with mainstream media, in my opinion, wanting him gone, and just in general, the aura is like now Chelsea could potentially miss out on top four and also lose the Champions League final. There's just so much pressure around the club. I'd even make the argument that the week we've just had from Arsenal up until today has been one of the worst weeks in Chelsea Football Club history, with the female team losing to Arsenal, then losing an FA Cup final. It's just not been good enough this week, innit? So, yeah, man, a lot of pressure, man, to turn a lot of things around.
Mate, I hear you on that, and I think that we spoke about this the other week, and it wasn't even sort of presented or put out in a way of trying to create additional tension or problems. It was just an observation that, like, as great as a turnaround had been, everything was still in that balance. And the fact you weren't scoring lots of goals, there was still this notion of, if you just have a few games where you don't score and you concede a goal or two, you could be in a little bit of trouble. And 3 defeats on the bounce. If you lose tomorrow night to Leicester, and you would start to get this sense of the season maybe unraveling a bit. And I've already seen Chelsea fans. Prime was right. I've seen so many Chelsea fans turning on players. I've seen some already turning on the manager. We see we see the mainstream media today. I've seen some stuff on TalkSport with them calling out Tuchel, saying maybe he was getting too much praise. Like, that pressure is already, it's almost like it's set up now for Chelsea to fail. And for everyone who wants to be negative about Chelsea is just waiting there with bated breath to go,
Yeah, no, 100%. And it doesn't help, man. I mean, everyone says their fan base is the most toxic in it, and I feel like every fan base has a bit of toxicity to it. I think Chelsea's one is very, very high because of the tension that's around the club. Everyone disagrees with his decision to leave Tammy out, or there's the agenda that Frank Lampard didn't get enough time, and I feel like that's still playing on a lot of people's minds. There's the agenda that Tuchel has had the benefit of the manager bounce, and now everything will unravel. So everyone's got an agenda towards something. Everyone's driving a certain narrative. Everyone's driving a certain opinion, rather than just supporting and backing the team. Really and truly, what should have happened in any level-headedness, but that won't happen in football, of course. We're fans, we're reactionary, and it happens. But in an ideal scenario, Tuchel should have been criticised maybe for his team selection, maybe rotating too much in the FA Cup final. But we would have been, look, we're Chelsea Football Club, we're a big club, I still believe we're the better team, and we should be beating Leicester in our next game. But now, because there's so much pressure around Tuchel, so much pressure around the players, so much pressure around Tammy's girlfriend even coming out and talking. I don't know if you saw Simon Phillips today. He actually deleted it, and I was mad disappointed because I actually respect him a lot as a journalist for Chelsea. But he told only half the story. He posted a quote where Tuchel gave Mason Mount. Apologies, that was me. Gave Mason Mount. Yeah, let me just put my laptop on Do Not Disturb. But yeah, so Tuchel gave Mason Mount a bit of tough love, but then said Mason Mount is still an important part of the team, and he cut that bit out. And then everyone was outraged for the whole morning and afternoon, and then he deletes it, and then it's because people called him out for only telling half of the story. So it's just like, when things like that happen and people have hidden agendas, especially the people with power, These big Chelsea, it's just like yourself, Terry. If you say something about Man United, there are people who are so loyal to you that won't even read the article where you got it from. They're just going to go off what Terry said and said, Terry said this, so I'm making my opinion based off what Terry said. And that's what happened today with Simon Phillips. And that's what's causing the pressure around the club right now. It's just not good enough. Really.
I hear you. And I think that, do you know what I've realized? I respect some, I don't respect all journalists. I respect some that write good articles, speak well, etc. But I saw it today in the Man United fan base. So Simon Stone, who is a respected Man United journalist, he put out, and it's still up now, he put out a quote from Ollie. And the quote reads as, I don't want to use it as an excuse because we lost 2 games, but it's surely a reason behind performances. His tweet then says, never nice to see a club that is not united. We're hoping Tuesday is going to be a positive day and we move together.
Yeah.
Now, you should always listen to the interview to hear the tone of voice. And he's right. It was the protests were a reason because we ended up having the games mashed together. It wasn't, you listen to him because he goes on to say that what Simon Stone did, he took 2 separate answers from 2 different questions and put them into one tweet without the context of 2 different questions. I just sort of said, for me, my quote was, why is Simon taking 2 answers from 2 different questions and quoting them as one answer? I've seen people that I would put in the Ollie out camp say, don't care. Ollie shouldn't have been saying what he said. And it's like, well, you're siding with a journalist that's literally printed a lie or half a truth.
Yeah.
And that's I've seen this before on like shows like Panorama where like you see someone who says something in their show and then you see this expose video on the internet and actually that's an answer to a completely different question. I've got my problems with the integrity of the reporting as opposed to what the person has supposedly said. And I think some journalists know there is traction to be had in feeding into particular agendas, and it's why I always say it's why we exist on the platform. Partly, it's to present stories, and then for you to be able to come on and have your. So I think one of the biggest things that infuriates me is when people say things to me like, "Terry, can't believe you're showing people this story." It's like, no, I want to show the story so that you get an opportunity to talk about it, speak about it.
That's the key thing, though. When you have a platform where you're sharing a story for people to obviously give their opinion, let people have the full story so their opinions are valid. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, like I said about the Haaland story today, this is what these outlets are saying. The main source comes from a major Spanish outlet. So it is definitely plausible that they are doing this to be pro to the Spanish viewers, as opposed to it being completely 100% true. It's not come from a German outlet initially, hasn't come from a British outlet, it's come from a Spanish one, and it's very weighted towards being positive towards the Spanish clubs. So take that into consideration when you're making your judgments, you know. And I see it so much. I see it so much, and it's a shame that because I like Phillips. I think he's really, really good. I read a lot of his stuff. I follow him and things like that. But you know, he's deleted it because he probably realizes it probably wasn't the best way round of me doing something. Someone here says reporting speculation is pointless. Well, that's not. Equally, like speculation is great. It depends what the speculation is. Speculation is fun. Like we all love it. An hour before kickoff, when you hear Hudson-Odoi starting up front. Imagine you got rid of speculation. Dead. It'd be dead, man. That speculation is amazing. Conjecture is amazing. Confusion is amazing. But report the truth as the best as you know it. Do you know what I mean? Don't, as you say, leave. Even if it had like any second tweet was that like continuation, he would have done it.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? At least you can. But do you know what? Quote me. Like on the record, I would say this, innit? Chelsea Football Club, in my opinion, how I've grown up supporting Chelsea all my life, we're about winning trophies. And for me, Tuchel's, the players, I think, have way more to have more of the blame than Tuchel. I think the team we started was definitely good enough. You obviously disagree with me. You say Leicester deserved it. I personally don't think they deserved. In terms of maybe the context around it, ESL and other storylines that people wanted to attach to it, that's fine. I understand that. But in terms of the game, the football game, the 90 minutes, I just think it was a pot shot and it ended up going in, especially getting a text the other night from his mate saying try a long shot. And it ends up going in. But I just think Tuchel now has a lot of pressure on him. And I think that personally as a Chelsea fan, not that I don't care about the top four, but the top four should have been wrapped up anyway. I want to win the Champions League now. Like, we need to be going out in the mindset, and I know we're the underdogs, but we need to go out with the mindset now that you need to win the Champions League, because I think a trophyless season again is a failure of a campaign, even if we get the top 4, because we had the opportunity to win 2 trophies and to not win either of them, being Chelsea, where one we were the favourites and the other we were the underdogs. Not to win 1 trophy, it's not a good enough campaign, regardless of the circumstances of him coming halfway through the season. He can have all the credit, and this is where my little bit of criticism comes in with for Tuchel, because I'm not in the business of all to gain and nothing to lose. I think it needs to be equally weighted. Tuchel deserves all the credit for picking up the slack, a lot of the broken squad that he had to pick up from Lampard, and he deserves all the credit for getting us to finals. But we can't just go there and lose and say, "Oh yeah, but I got you there." Like, do you know what I'm saying? We got there, so finish off the job.
I think if you miss out on top 4 and then you have a performance in the final like the FA Cup where you didn't, I watched the game back, you didn't actually lay a glove on them, and that was the bit I think which will hurt more. And if you do that, if you get beat by Leicester tomorrow night without really doing much, and then you lose that final without really doing much, what's coming. There are certain players that are never going to be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
All of the Lampard stands and whatnot are going to start on the Tuchel. The Tuchel agendas begin, and it will mean next season is going to start. I almost feel like fairly negatively. Does that make sense? Because there's this element of it, and then the pressure mounts up, because if Tuchel was to have won the FA Cup and Champions League, I'm not saying he gets a free hit next season, because Roman doesn't give free hits, but it makes his season easier. To lose 2 finals and miss out on top 4, he has to almost win the league or he's getting sacked. Like
he has to start on a 15-game winning streak to almost settle nerves and put people back on side, because it's like he's made it tough on himself, no doubt. Because I just personally think Tuchel's the right guy. I've been consistent with that. I think Tuchel's tactical nous, you need that in today's game. I think that people have kind of twisted his tactics against him, when really and truly it's his tactics and how he set up his team that's really worked. I mean, I've had a lot of big Chelsea people call me out and say, show some faith in the lineup, because I used to criticize every single lineup, and then I realized, do you know what, he gets it right, so I can't even complain anymore. But then now everyone's turning against him, and it's very, very, it's like Chelsea fans think we should win every single game, and I guess that's the mentality we've set ourselves, which isn't a bad thing. But I mean, look, Champions League final, top 4. In fact, let's talk about Leicester. The Leicester game tomorrow is just a must-win game. No draws, no losses. Stamford Bridge, the fans are going to be there again. I don't want the fans to be disappointed. Like, we need to win that game by all means.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like the team tomorrow, how strong should he go, and will Tuchel go?
The strongest team possible. He can't even. I don't even think he has room to rotate, or whoever is like the strongest team, in my opinion, right now that we have is Mendy in goal, Aspilicueta, Thiago Silva, Rudiger. Play Reece James at right wing back. You play Chilwell left wing back. You play Jorginho and Kante. If Kovacic is fit, I think you give him minutes, but I don't know whether you'd start him. But hey, Jorginho, Kante, and I think you play Havertz. I think you play Pulisic, and I think you play Mount. That's your front 3. And you go all out to try and win that game. I know a lot of people in the comments are saying no Jorginho, but I just think it's because Kovacic hasn't played, and you're going to see rust. And this is a big game, so there's no room for rust. You need to just go out and win with a bit of continuity. So, yeah, man, go with the strongest team possible. Can't lose that game.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, when Alisson's header went in.
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Hey, Terry, let me even describe it to you, yeah? I didn't watch the game, but I was following the updates, and then I saw 90+4 on the Sky Sports updates, and it said the keeper's going up. So I went off it, and I was getting ready to tweet, Liverpool have drawn, and da-di-da-di-da, getting ready to throw my corn, throw my shade. And then I just see one text in the chat saying, OMG. And I knew straight away what happened. Like, I knew straight away it was the goalkeeper who scored. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy, man. Liverpool, like we can't even think about the Burnley game. It's all about Chelsea, man, and beating Leicester, regardless of what happens to Liverpool. You beat Leicester, I think that will do the job for us. That will do the trick, because I do think we'll beat Villa on the final day. I don't see Villa causing us surprises. It's the Leicester game I'm nervous about.
Yeah, it's the one, isn't it? I mean, I think whoever wins, they're through. But a draw is not, the thing is, I've called it win or bust, and I say it's win or bust because if you draw, you're done, in my opinion. Because I think Liverpool now, they have got that bit. They didn't even deserve to win. Over the course of the game, they didn't create enough. The offside goal for West Brom, I felt like the reason I felt that was harsh when looking back is it didn't matter where that player was in front of the keeper. He was never going to save it because it was too far. He was never getting to it. So it probably shouldn't have stood, but it happened. And when it went in, obviously I don't like last minute goals from a content creator's point of view. So I have to change titles, thumbnails, tags. Change before I'm like, I get so annoyed, right? Because I think I've got to do it all again right now. I've got no time. And when it went in, I just sort of thought to myself, like, wow. And then I was like annoyed at first because I was like, I've got to change the thumbnail. And I'm like, actually, Alisson just scored.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a scrap. It was like a banging header. Like, we love to score like that. And I just thought to myself, this is going to the wire now. And they literally, Alisson not only has kept Liverpool in it, he's kept the Premier League alive, because at that point, Liverpool were out of the top 4 race. You guys relaxed going into this game, and it would have been pretty much done and over. So yeah, it's gonna, that final day of the season is going to be amazing now, from a top 4 race point of view. But I just feel like the pressure is more on Chelsea now than anybody else. I don't know if you agree.
100%. Pressure's all on Chelsea. After a week ago, you would have said we were in the least pressurized situation, where we're going into an Arsenal game, should be winning that game comfortably. Arsenal don't really have anything to play for. A good chance to get revenge as well after losing 3-0 at the Emirates. And then we go and give away a silly goal there. I said the Arsenal game was what put all the pressure on us. And I even put my neck on the line and said, because we lost that game in the manner that we did, we'd go out against Leicester fully fighting, that it was a good time to lose just before the final so that everyone gets back on top. But it didn't happen again. I just can't see our team. Like, and I don't even want to jinx it, but I have to say this. I can't see my team not performing for 3 games on the bounce. Like, I just don't. I can't see that. Like, if I see that again, I don't really know. But you've analysed the problem. We know the problem. I saw Slenz's comment, like, we're not clinical. If we do not score within the first 30 minutes, where we probably will have 3 chances, if we do not score any of our first 3 chances, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long evening. So, yeah, man.
I'm so excited about the game. Obviously, Man United actually play before it. I'm hoping we win, because their fans are just winding me up at the minute. They're so negative. Honestly, I have never seen a more negative group of human beings in my life. The irony is we'll win, and they'll still. I actually listened to a fan today. Oh my God, it was like, no. He said, like, he was talking about how he didn't think we would even make top 4 at the beginning of the season, but he now believes that we should have won the league based on circumstances changing during the season. And I thought, that is sound logic until you throw this little curveball. Yes, but then things change again. So if it can change once and you think, oh, maybe we could win it, you can change again to where you go, actually, maybe we can't. Like, it can change. You can change to get like circumstances. And do you know what the biggest change in circumstance was? I don't think it was Man United. It was City just got too damn good, and we couldn't stop. Like, if City would have dropped points, how they've dropped points in the last 5-6 games. If they'd have done that in the middle of that really good run, Man United would just naturally be in a title race. They just won too many on the bounce. So that's what I mean by, like, I just get this, and this is what you're going to get if you lose tomorrow night. There are some Chelsea fans that are just, I think they're excited about getting to be negative about their team again. I almost feel some people love that feeling and emotion of, I'm always going to look at this as a negative, and I don't want to hear the positive because I want to be negative.
Well, what I will say for sure is, if we lose tomorrow, over half the fan base will be on Tuchel's neck. As in, it won't even be a split or an equal split where there's going to be a clear, like, Tuchel, what are you doing kind of thing, and everyone's going to forget all the good times we've recently had and just be like, rah, we actually might not make top four, where the Champions League becomes like, you know how they say the championship playoff final is like the biggest game in football. That could be like the biggest game in Tuchel's Chelsea career. Do you know what I'm saying? Where if we don't beat Man City in the Champions League final, it could be done. Like no top four, no Champions League, and no FA Cup. I just don't see how Roman even gives him a shot. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Hey, they wouldn't sack him right now. They
wouldn't sack him. You say that. You actually say that.
If it happened, right? If you lose your next 3 games, right, and it's nothing. If I woke up and saw Thomas Tuchel sacked, I wouldn't be. It wouldn't be like I've just seen a spaceship come out the sky. What's going on? I can't. It'd be like, oh, okay. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
literally, and that's why I said I would not be like. One thing's for certain is Roman's not reactionary. I mean, apart from Ancelotti, I believe he's got most of his seconds right in regards to people falling out with the board, and combined with some managers having poor results. Apart from Ancelotti, I think Ancelotti was hard done by. We let him go in his prime as well, and we made a mistake with that. But everyone else was pretty much spot on. But like for Tuchel to get into the position to get top four, to win the FA Cup and win the Champions League, and then to not get any of them after being in control of pretty much, I'd say 2 out of the 3. So apart from Champions League final where we're the underdogs, that would just be like, come on, man. Like, you can't even. I can't even argue as much as I want him there. Like, I would be like, oh, like we've lost a good manager, but like, can you really argue against it,
mate? I think you're absolutely spot on. Thomas Tuchel here says the factor of home fans will be a huge boost for these players tomorrow. Let's send these guys on a high before going to Villa Park for the last game of the season, Champions League final. And Champions League final in Portugal. Thank you, Thomas Tuchel FC. Haven't seen you in a while on here. Welcome back, buddy. Thank you very, very much. We've got KJ and Neeks backstage. We're going to be having. I've changed the concept of the latter part of the show now. We've got the poll out, but I've had a lot of requests. We're tiering it. We are tiering the top 6 plus 1. We're doing it. You're going to get your chance to vote and vote with your feet in relation to this. We're doing it on there. We're going to be getting the gentleman on very, very soon. Tahir says Chelsea sacked so many managers. Are there any left? Yeah. Do you know what it reminds me of? It's a bit like, you know, like you watch like soaps and there's certain characters that have literally been dated every girl on the street. That's Chelsea when it comes to managers. I'd
even say it's the way they changed like Ben Mitchell in EastEnders, like how many times they changed him, and like, the revolving door. Like, and the thing is, if we do sack Thomas Tuchel, which I'd say that's a big mistake, there's actually no one I want in world football right now. I'm not, because if you think about it, Nagelsmann is like the up and coming coach, and he's got the Bayern job now. So apart from him, there's not really anyone left, unless you go take Ancelotti off Everton, who I believe doesn't get the same amount of scrutiny that Mourinho was getting at Tottenham. Yes, Everton are a lesser club, but they've ended the season badly, and it's not getting spoken about enough, in my opinion. But
oh, mate, I hear you. I think Ancelotti is done at the elite end of the spectrum. I think most people would kind of agree with that, and whatnot. Someone says Zidane. Do you know what? Zinedine Zidane is an interesting one for me. And I know people go, you don't watch real football, Terry. What are you talking about? That's what I hear. I want to see him at another club before that sounds stupid because he's won 3 Champions Leagues on the bounce.
Yeah, I hear you. I get you.
I need to see him at another club before I put him into the same categories as Peps and Klopps and everybody else. I don't know why. It's just that, you know, you get a little gut feeling. And I'm not even saying he's overrated. Someone says Allegri. Allegri's going Real Madrid. That's pretty much done. So we will see. Right, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel's going to be staying with us. He will be. We're going to be just changing the background. We're going to be having it now. We're going to be doing this now. It's going to be the top 6. We're getting the top 6 debate out here. Top 6 debate's getting done. KJ's here. Neeks is here. Daniel's staying with us. We're going to be going through this and working out who actually goes into the top 6 and who the plus 1 is. But we're going to have a little bit more fun with it than that. I'm going to show you on the screen now. We're going to be doing top 2, top 4. I don't know why that D's on there. I don't know what the D stands for. I'm going to delete that. Delete the row, right? There you go. There you have it. Top 2, top 4, top 6, plus 1. All being voted for tonight. Neeks is here with me. KJ's here with me. How are we, gentlemen? We all good?
I'm all right. I'm good. I was just speaking to Jenna Tools. That's a bit late.
All right, listen. How they did me like that, bro? Oh man,
Did you dirty, KJ? Did you dirty?
Hey, you know, KJ, do you know what I wanted to say? I wanted to say, yeah, didn't you deep, yeah, everyone's face. Everyone before you said it.
Let me ask you this question. At 1:30 in the morning, yeah, how good is your reading capability?
In fairness, AJ, at 1:30 in the afternoon, my reading capability.
Exactly, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's very mad. I did not understand.
But it helps me in these situations because I don't. Yeah, mate, it was honestly made me die. I think should we play it, ladies and gentlemen? Should we play it?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
All right, go on, man. Go on.
Love the channel. It's my birthday. Can I get a shout out? Yo, Jenna Tools. Happy birthday.
No, I got you, bro.
Yeah, you've got your moment there, bro. You got your moment. In fairness, we're a lot better on the terrace than other. I mean, Robbie gets done all the time.
Oh yeah, Robbie.
Oh right, yeah.
It's the girls on AFTV. Charlene gets done all the time.
Yeah.
Like, and Pippa and the other girls is looking at her like, really? Again? Like we did. Like, they had a briefing before every session, and she just
before that happened, someone super chatted trying to catch me out with a. This one was terrible. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it, but they tried to catch me out with a young Ajax player. But then I read it and I was like, yeah, you're not getting me. And as soon as I said that one came in a bit later. So I think if I didn't say it, no one would have did that.
I remember TalkSport doing a video where they went around Stamford Bridge and they started naming players, but they gave them sort of names. And I can't do it how they did it, but it was like a South Korean under 21 international on his way here, and his name was like, when you said it slowly, it was like doesn't exist or isn't going to happen or whatever it was, but they did it in a very clever way, and it was so cringy watching people say things like, "Oh yeah,
he's quality, yeah."
That's why when people say to me, I would rather someone say Terry has a very average European knowledge of football, as opposed to me sitting here and pretending that I know about all these players, and then you get found out. Like when I played FIFA and Football Manager, I knew a lot more of the upper, because we all used to do it. You buy the new version of Football Manager, and you go on the internet and go Wonder Kids, Football Manager 2017, and you went out and you just spent like your first summer transfer when they didn't buy any stars. You just went and bought all the Wonder Kids for $1 million, $2 million each, and you're like, right, next 5 years I'm set. And you did, and it always worked out. A comment here from Monsieur says, what's the criteria? Well, the criteria is quite simple, really. We're just going to tier them, and it's based on trophies won, current standings, and size of the club. They're all a factor, but it's down to you how you want to do it, as an example. So you know the rule. We're going to place them. You know the rules when it comes to tiering on the football terrace. £5 up or down anywhere, 20 anywhere you want. You can create a new tier if you want to do that for the 50s. I don't see why you want to create a new tier on this one, but you can do. So we're going to jump straight into this. I'm going to go to Neeks first on this one because it's an interesting one. I'm going to give you a club straight away and see where you're going to place them. I'm going to give you Manchester United.
I mean, if there was a tier one, I have to have them in tier one. There isn't. There's a tier two. Top two. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put Man United there. Man United for me are the biggest club in England. Some people say biggest in the world. I would still have Real Madrid 100% still above them. The Barcelona one, it's up to you to decide. Barcelona's got more European cups, and they do have a massive reach. You know, if a player, listen, Ronaldinho chose Barcelona over us. You know, that says something in it. So I will still have them probably just ahead of us, but definitely top three in the world, biggest club in England. We can look at major trophies, or we can look at all trophies. If you look at all trophies, including Community Shield, we're above Liverpool, I think like 66, 64. If we take major trophies, so taking out all the one-off, Super Cups or the minor trophies, I think it's about 45 to 44. So, and if we get a Europa League, then obviously that's going to go up another one. We've got a bigger fan base. We make more money. Literally all they have over us is the fact that they won a Premier League more recently. And that was Premier League and Champions League more recently. But if we're talking history, Man United at the top.
I hear you on that. I don't think anybody could overtly disagree about him not being in top 2. Daniel, I'm going to give you Chelsea.
It's a tough one. It's all about perspective, really, and people are gonna disagree. I'm expecting it, but I genuinely believe we're top 2. I think after Man United, I think we're the next biggest team in England, and it's going to come across as biased. People call me the level-headed one, but I'm gonna say after Man United, we're the biggest and the best. I mean, Liverpool. How many years did it take them to win that first Premier League title? Yeah, you want to talk about the Champions Leagues that they won, but I feel like you have to consider what we have done in the Premier League era as well, which is monumental. And there's questions being asked, like whether Liverpool are really bigger than Manchester City. Like we have to ask that question if Man City win the Champions League this year. That's a serious question, especially with the multiple Premier League titles that Man City have won. Man City have done the domestic treble as well. Have Liverpool done the double in recently? I don't think so. Have they done the FA Cup and Premier League?
FA Cup and League, that was like 86.
86. Yeah, man. And I just think, I think how we look. I know everyone wants to talk about the history, and history, of course, matters. And I get that's why Chelsea will obviously be considered in a different category for some people. But in my opinion, look, let us judge generation by generation. And in our generation, all of us sitting here, Chelsea have been a successful club, and I think after Man United, Chelsea are the next biggest.
It's an interesting look. An interesting look. We've put them as everyone can see. Chelsea have been moved into the top 2 by Daniel. That's his take. Remember, you can super chat in and move teams up or down in any direction that you want. You all know the rules here. As it stands, Adam has joined us as well now, and I'm actually going to go to Adam next straight away. I'm going to give Adam an interesting one here. Where are you placing Arsenal?
Not even want to ease me in. Bloody hell. Let's face it. Arsenal still have to be in top 6, man. If we're being serious, Arsenal are not challenging for top 4 anymore, especially not regularly anyway. And if we want to get Champions League qualification, it usually has to come through like Europa League. But we're definitely still top 6. This is just a blip. We will be back. We will be challenging for top 6 in the very near future. And if we're talking +1, I think as much as I respect what Brendan Rodgers and Leicester have done, I think it still needs to be a bit more sustained. I still want to see a little bit more. And if we're having this conversation this time next season, I'd probably even be willing to put Leicester in that top 6, top 4 conversation. But for now, I'm still putting Arsenal there. Arsenal is still a big club. Come on, man. Let's pay respect where it's due, please.
Arsenal been put into the top 6 by Adam. I'm going KJ next. And KJ, I'm giving you Liverpool.
Why, man? Put them in top 4. I ain't saying nothing more about those pricks, bro.
Liverpool just straight in there. No fight for top 2. I'm going to go with the next one, and I'm going to take Man City. And I'm going to put Man City in top 6.
Hey,
they've never won a Champions League.
But you know what? No, so you see now, now I'm a bit confused because obviously a lot of the comments are grilling me. But if we're basing it off of the logic that we're using, I thought Arsenal would have been top 4. Do you know what I'm saying? Or even I thought someone.
Yeah, that's the thing. What is Terry? What is the criteria?
Like, what are we leaning towards?
Yeah, what is the criteria? Is it biggest club or is it most successful team?
For me, it has to be a combination of both, but we have to look at it from a contemporary sense. Otherwise, you could argue Nottingham Forest should still be in there. Like
that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
you have to balance it up, and I think it's an opinion based here. We're not debating the the definition of it. For me, I would actually move. I was only trolling. I would put City in top 4. I only having a laugh and a joke. That's based on what they've won recently, the trajectory they're going in, the size of their club, and everything. They have to be top 4. They're moving though. They are moving towards top 2 in many people's eyes. I would have put Liverpool in top 2 over Chelsea because I do think historically they've won more, but their contemporary success has been in the last 3 or 4 years, not in the last 20, 25 years. So some people.
This is the question, Terry, because obviously, I guess Liverpool won the Premier League and Champions League recently, as in the last couple of years. But if Liverpool are above Chelsea, are Arsenal not above Man City?
That's what I'm. That's a good question.
I don't mind.
Like where does history start and stop?
No,
what equates current and not current?
I think current is what have they done in I'd say the last 10 years.
Do you know what's crazy as well? Like even when Chelsea growing up, like one of the biggest rebuttals for every person who wanted to criticize Chelsea fans was, football didn't start 10 years ago or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And the further we go down the line, the 2004-05 season becomes more and more a distant memory. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you even struggle to remember certain aspects of that season.
So yeah, I do agree. I suppose you've got to look at it this way. Again, I'm changing my own mind the more I think about it. So you have to look at history and what you've won as a club. But at the same time, when we think about top 6 or whatever, end of the day, it doesn't matter what Arsenal did 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago right now. Who's more desirable to join? Chelsea, City, Liverpool, or Arsenal?
The question, all of the above are Arsenal.
So I think you have to. I don't think anyone can tell you exactly what it is. You just got to give your reason and put them in it, and then the viewers can decide from there. Because if we just say the most historic, who's won the most trophies, then there is no debate, is there?
Yeah. There's no debate. Yeah,
nonsensical. Mark here says, "What is the Chelsea fan talking about? How can you be bigger than Arsenal and Liverpool if you have less trophies?"
You see, but that's dumb. That's really, really dumb. Sorry, I got food in my mouth. But when you think about it, it has to be a combination of everything. And you have to consider what you're giving more weight into. Like, as much as I want to say that Arsenal are a bigger club than, I don't know, say Manchester City, yes, we might have more fans. I don't even know if that's probably globally we do. Yes, we might have a stadium in London. We might have a lot of social media attraction. But in terms of recent success, trophies, and in terms of being an attractive prospect, I think all of that comes into play. And if you put weighting on those factors, then Arsenal really aren't a big club. And this is me really trying to be objective here, guys.
And I think you need to look at all of it. Lang and Sweet here. By the way, if you guys are super chatting, you can move teams up and down. So don't feel free to make me do that if that's what you're doing here. He says, Terry, Man City have more league trophies than Chelsea. So why are Chelsea top 2 instead of Man City? Well, I didn't place them. And once someone's in there, we don't move them. I would personally...
League trophies?
Well, this is the point I was gonna
Premier Leagues,
because Agal brought this up. I think Agal brought this up in the group chat some weeks ago or a week or so ago about Chelsea, Man City, and of course Chelsea didn't win the FA Cup, so that's out the window now. If Man City win the Champions League, they will have
one sec. Wait, how many
Premier League? 7.
How many Premier Leagues do Man City have? 5.
In terms of league titles, they've got 7 compared to Chelsea's 6. They had 2 before the Premier League started, so they've got 5 since. You had 1 before the Premier League started, and you got 5 since. So you have they have 7 league titles versus 6. They've got a Cup Winners' Cup, which I would say is equivalent to UEFA Cup, because that's how it was back then. You got 2 of those. If they win a Champions League, you got the same amount of Champions Leagues. FA Cups, I think how much they got? They've got 6. You've got 8. But overall, they've got 28 cups. If you include Community Shield, you've got 29. If they win the Champions League, you'll be level on trophies. They'll have the same amount of European Cups and 1 more League Cup. Does that not make them bigger? Because if you look at history, it's level, and if you look at current, they're ahead.
But then you guys have brought in the argument of fan base, and it's clear that Man City's fan base is nowhere near the level of Chelsea's fan base worldwide, like not even close.
Agreed.
Which has been a huge argument in the debate. But the one point I did want to go touch on quickly was the point about even the super chat that came in, where we have to look at the prospects and what your team is doing in terms of who you can sign. It's not a coincidence that
we're the best manager in the world.
So I,
We've got
so
two
I,
fans as well.
It's not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Arsenal, they're saying they want Pereira and Sander Berg from Sheffield United. Like, these are not players that the big clubs are going to want to buy. It's just facts.
do you know what's mad about it, right? I look at it. I think we'll factor in all four things. So it's amount of trophies, which is including history. What you've won, what have you done for me lately? As in what you've won recently. There is global fan base. And then you've got the most important bit as well, that like desirable. Who wants to join your club right now? I think you factor all four of those things, it's easy to place. We do have a super chat that says, if you guys are talking about the last 10 years, then keep Man United top four. City and Chelsea the most successful. Man United are an ex-great club. So we've got Avi has made the moves here. Avi has made the moves. He has moved some people. So we're going to start doing the moves once we've finished placing. So we will come back to this super chat.
Can I respond? Can I respond to that super chat?
Yeah, go on.
In the last 10 years, Man United have 2 Premier Leagues. Is it 1 FA Cup, a League Cup, and a Europa League? So how many Premier Leagues have Chelsea got in the same time? 2, I believe, in the last 10 years. Man City.
Because it's 2021, we would say 1, innit?
Well, we won in 2011.
Actually, no, Mourinho and Conte. Mourinho and Conte, 2.
Yeah. So we've got 2. We've got 2. Man City have more than everyone. Liverpool's got 1. So even by that logic, in the last 10 years, we've still won more Premier Leagues.
We got Champions League.
You got Champions League. I'll give you that. You got Champions League. But we won. So we still won Premier Leagues on the level or more than the likes of Liverpool. Just to answer that.
I do get that. RSS1 here says, Neeks have some shame. How can you include Community Shields as an honor? We don't need, yeah, we just there we go. Aaron here has said move Liverpool to top 2. I've always told the Champions League is the creme de la creme of trophies. Move Liverpool beside Man United. That is from a Liverpool fan. So we'll get these moves done in a few moments. Dinesh says Liverpool have won 2 Champions Leagues, 1 Premier League, 1 Europa, 3 League Cup, 3 FA Cups, 3 League Cups in the Premier League since it started. Moved them up into the top 2. So Liverpool have been moved into the top 2, and to move them down, it's going to cost you at least £15 because of how much money people have put on them already. I'm just making that point already. Like I'm honouring these super chats as we always do. Quickly, Neeks, where are you placing Tottenham?
You know what? I'm gonna have to put Tottenham +1.
Yes, thank you.
I'm gonna have to.
Thank you.
Because it's funny because we will ask what is the criteria, what's the criteria, and nobody said number of times qualified for Champions League as part of the criteria. Nobody said number of times finished runners up or number of times put the pressure on. Like nobody mentioned that. So we have to be real. What have Tottenham done recently? Past 10 years, 20 years. Leicester are more successful than them in the Premier League era. 1992. That's what, 28 years? 29 years? 1992. Leicester are more successful than them. I think Tottenham have an FA Cup and a League Cup. Well, Leicester got an FA Cup, a League Cup, and a Premier League. So, for me, all they've got over Leicester, if we're talking about who's the bigger club right now, the only thing they have over Leicester is the fact they've got more fans. Because in terms of in terms of desirable, well, look at Leicester's recruitment compared to a lot of the teams that we're talking about here, let alone Spurs. Their recruitment is mad. The sale of their players, in terms of how much they're selling them for, is crazy. The prices. So, I think you gotta have Leicester above Spurs right now. Yeah.
I think most people would agree with that. I mean, as you say, they've won a Premier League, and they've won an FA Cup in recent times. They're a desirable club to join. I mean, the Leicester City manager has rejected going to Tottenham. So when you think about that criteria we set in itself, it moves him out. So that is our top 6 +1 as we have set it. But we are now going to go to your super chats. Liverpool fans have instantly moved Liverpool up into the top 2 and Man United down. And it will take £15 of your hard-earned money now. They've got a book on them. They're in there. They're on that level. There's also £5 that's been put in to put City into that position. So if you want to make those moves, you know what you need to do in relation to this. I want to go some more to make sure I want to catch up with these super chats. I don't want to miss it. So I can just catch up and then we're on point with this. So Centurion here says you should consider this as well. Forbes' most valuable clubs in the UK: Man United, Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. I mean, I get that.
Man City is above Chelsea in the valuable.
I don't know.
To be fair, the assets they have in terms of their stadium, their training ground, I can see why.
Yeah.
Oh, Bashir has moved Arsenal here into the +1. Arsenal have been moved into the +1 here based on his super chat. That means Spurs have been put up into the top 6. That's been done. That's a fan move. That is a fan move there. Simon came in with another super chat. Let's go back to the super chat here and said, Terry, Liverpool and Man United top. They have 9 Champions Leagues, 39 league titles, and 24 Premier Leagues. Between 24 Premier Leagues, 14 Premier Leagues, I think he means. I think he's hit the 2 instead of the 1 on there. So that's a £5 back in. So City drop out.
Sorry, man said 14 Premier Leagues. We've got 13 of them.
That is true. That's it as the viewers have got it as it stands. Right? Oh, wow. Trident's come in here and says Arsenal in. Top 4. So that who's going to drop out then? That means City have already had some money put on them, so they're going to stay in. It means Arsenal, Chelsea are going to drop down into top 6, and Spurs are back in the +1. Trident London has put his money where his mouth is right now. In terms of the top 6, we did have a caller earlier that said, should we not now just look at it as a top 7? Or do you think it's funny to kick someone out?
That's boring, bruv. That's boring. Yo, keep it like this, fam. +1 is hilarious, fam.
It's true. It's true. On the back.
Because you know what it is, yeah? You know what it is? Why might as well just say top 20? Might as well just say top 20. Because you're just going to keep adding and adding teams and adding teams.
That's what's going to happen, KJ.
This is my point. That's my point, and that's why, obviously, from a banter perspective, top 7 or top 6 +1 is funny, innit? But really and truly, it should, when we're talking about the elite of the elite, we should just be talking about the top 4 clubs. Because I don't even know if you lot remember. Like I remember when people were crowning Everton Premier League champions after like game week 6 or 7 when they drew with Liverpool or something like that. They were saying, yeah, it's the team that could win it. Ancelotti, da. So it could have been a top 8 at the end of this season. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think there needs to be that element of. So what I'd look for, that you need to keep kind of exclusive. It's a bit like I was saying the other day. You know, there's debates were happening in the group chat where everybody was talking about a treble, you know, a type of double. And I'm like, no, I don't even like the words being used. And it ain't about trying to protect Man United's legacy as such. It's about keeping things prestigious in my view, right? So I feel like there is only one treble. There's only one treble, and that's it. There's only one double, and that's it. Equally, there's only one kind of invincible. And the reason I say that is this. You could go unbeaten in the FA Cup and Champions League and win it. Doesn't mean you've had an invincible season. The invincibles is you don't lose a league game. The treble is the treble, and it's winning the FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. I think we should, it's a bit like you said with the top 6. It got expanded from top 4 to top 6 any more than that, and I think it starts to lose the point. As you say, top 7, then it'll be top 8, then it's top 10, then it's top 12. It's like, it doesn't really sound too good.
On top of that, the only reason it got expanded was because the teams who were traditional top 4 dropped into the 6th and 7th positions, as opposed to, okay, let's bring, it wasn't a case of, let's bring the team that finished 6th or the team that finished 7th. It was, damn, the team that was finishing 2nd and 3rd.
Would you say that?
So once again, it would take the likes of Man United and Liverpool to be finishing 6th and 7th for 5 years for us to make, for it to be, I guess, accepted as, okay, maybe we've got 7 big clubs in the league, because their history is so strong that you don't just say, oh, okay, get rid of Man United or get rid of Liverpool. But yeah, I don't think you can just say, oh, 7. Because when you wait for to start a new tournament, we're going to say top 8 and then top 9. Like, where does it end?
I've always...
Sorry, mate. Manchester is Blue here has put Tottenham into the top 4. He's put Tottenham...
That's stupid. Boy, he did that to take his own team out.
Go down, and then I have to pick between Leicester and Chelsea to drop down.
Put Chelsea there. Put Chelsea there. Put Chelsea there because of Daniel.
chat. Who am I putting down, sir? You need to tell me who drops out of the top 6 in relation to that. To move Arsenal or to remove Tottenham out of the top 4, it's £15 a piece for those boys. Wow. There we go. The viewers have had their say on that one. Everyone in the comments is saying Chelsea. They're all saying Chelsea have got to drop down. Come on now. Come on.
I mean, you did this, Daniel. You did this.
I mean,
I don't know why you said Chelsea. I don't know why you said Chelsea at top 2, bro. I don't know why you said that.
Daniel, on a level, sorry to interject.
Yeah,
do you legitimately think the only team on par with you in terms of size is Chelsea? Do you actually think you're bigger now than Liverpool, Man City?
He doesn't.
We were always bigger than Man City, and we're still bigger than Man City. That's not even, and I didn't even, one sec, I didn't even get to respond to Neeks. Even if Man City do win the Champions League, they're not bigger than us because we have 3 Europa Leagues. We got the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup. We got the Super Cup as well. And we've also got the Champions League, which we coincidentally could still win. We're in that final team. Don't forget that. So there's still a lot to play for. So even if they do win their first European title or second, as it may be, we're still a bigger club, in my opinion, definitely. In terms of Liverpool, I think one thing we need to remember about Liverpool is that Liverpool were going, like, in the Premier League era, they were going through it. Like, let's call a spade a spade. They were going through it in the Premier League. They were going through it in the domestic competitions. I think they won the FA Cup in 2006 and the League Cup under Kenny Dalglish. And then was it Julia? Julia won the League Cup as well. So two League Cups and then 1 FA Cup. And then obviously, I think the Champions League really takes them over the edge. But the thing I hate about Liverpool fans the most is that it's the suiting of the argument. And the reason why I say Chelsea are a bigger club is because Liverpool fans will tell you this. Our team had no right to be anywhere near the Champions League final, but then say because we won the Champions League final, we're a big club. Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't like that all to gain. I said it to Terry earlier on, all to gain but nothing to lose kind of mentality. You're either a big club and you should be in the finals or you're not. And in my opinion, Chelsea, every time they're in the finals, they're a big club who deserve to be in the finals. And over the last 25 years, 30 years, we've been a bigger club than Liverpool. Facts.
Mate, you made arguments there. How about yourself, Ram? You haven't said too much and you've only just sort of joined us. Like, where do you see, how do you envisage the top 6 or the top 7 as it kind of is at the minute? How do you rank them yourself from 1 down to 7?
Look, I've always said I think recent success, I'll put Manchester United above Liverpool. I think if Liverpool, only way Liverpool can go above them is if we start winning again from next season onwards, and Man United sort of stagnate a little bit. Then after that, it will definitely be Chelsea, and then for me, it's going to be I'll put Arsenal there. And I think for me, Arsenal, you can't take away the fact that their history. They're the 3rd biggest club in England. It's as simple as that. I know they haven't done anything recently, but if you look at the Premier League era, they've won 3 Premier League titles. And you have to give respect to that. You know what I mean? And they always say, "Oh, is Arsenal? They haven't done anything," but still, they are the 3rd biggest club. The 4th biggest club in England. I think Manchester City, if they win that Champions League, then I'll happily say they're the 4th biggest club, and Arsenal can go down to 5th.
I get you sort of sound bigger, but right now, when you say top 6, you would seriously right now have Arsenal in front of Man City.
For now, we'll see it in the Champions League final. If Man City win the Champions League, then definitely they're above. They've
won more league. They've won more Premier Leagues than Arsenal. Man City.
Well, they've won. Terry, you have to remember, football was around since before.
No, and I understand, and I do understand that. But in contemporary times, they've been more successful. They're more desirable club to join. They're valued higher. Like right now, just because, no disrespect, I don't know, Haaland isn't going to pick Arsenal over Man City because they have more league titles historically, is he?
Probably not, but maybe from a nostalgia bias because when I was younger, I used to see Thierry Henry and Gilberto Silva and
he's not.
Let me ask Adam here. I mean, I know Gal in the comments. You want to come on the Gal? Feel free to. Adam, do you see yourselves as a? I want to get the wording right. Bigger, better. Should you be in front of Man City in the top 6 ranking?
Yes, we should. Like, if we're being honest, we know that we should. Manchester United, I know yeah, we can say that you guys have got trophies in the past 10 years, league titles, blah, blah, blah. But sporting-wise, you guys haven't really been fantastic in the past X many years. And I think there's been a similar decline with Arsenal, although it's been a little bit more severe. We know that Arsenal are in the mud, if you want to call it that. We know that Arsenal haven't been great. But if we take all of history, even in my lifetime, even in the time I started watching football, if we take that, Arsenal are a bigger club and ahead of Manchester City. It's just in the past, 8-9 years, we can point to City having a far greater sporting performance than Arsenal. But if you take all of that, you take into account your fans, you take into account all the different stuff, Arsenal are a bigger club than Man City, man. And I'm not even going to lie, I don't think that them winning the Champions League changes it either, because it still needs to be more prolonged than that.
But Adam,
And Terry,
if you take out the Community Shield and the Super Cup, so one-off tournaments, so European Super Cup, Community Shield, if you take that out of it, you've got 30, we say, major titles or trophies. They've got 22. You've got 0 Champions Leagues, which is the highest trophy in European football. If they win one before you win, like, I guess there's still a gap of 7, but one European Cup, don't you think that severely bridges that gap of the league titles that you have more than them, especially as they've won more in the Premier League era, even though they only started in 2012?
I hear how you can make the argument. I really, really do, but it's interesting speaking to I used to work with a Manchester City fan, and he was like, well, the reason no one turns up to the Champions League games for Man City is because they don't care about the Champions League. Like, we in our generation have put so much emphasis on the Champions League, and I get it, it's the pinnacle. We would love to see the best players playing against the best players, but really and truly, proper fans, Brexit fans, if you want to call them that, they care about the league, bro. They care about the 38-game season, winning that, and the fact that we've done it unbeaten as well just gives us even more credence. So, and I think I saw it might have even been a gal that tweeted it the other day, winning the Champions League means you win however many games, but over a 38-game season, it's a completely different story, bro. So I don't know. Even if they do win it, props to them. I love Pep Guardiola, and I'll believe me, I'll be singing from the rooftops if they do. But it still doesn't make them a bigger club.
Oh, do you think it's easier to? Do you and Igal think it's easier to win the Champions League than to win the league, or there's more emphasis?
That's a debate to be had, isn't it? I'm just chucking it out.
Is it possible for someone who hasn't won it? Just a quick question I have for them. I just want to know. So if I was to say to you now, you have the chance to win the Premier League or the Champions League as an Arsenal fan, what are you picking?
Igal, would you like to take it?
Listen, before you
I just want the answer.
Before you try to deflect, you're gonna pick the trophy. You're gonna pick the trophy that you don't have to your cabinet. That's what you're gonna pick. Okay. So if you're a Liverpool fan and you never won the league in a long time, you're gonna pick that. If you're a Manchester United fan and you want to bridge the gap between Manchester United and Liverpool, you're gonna pick the Champions League. If you're Man City, you're gonna pick the Champions League. No matter what you are, the one that you don't have to your trophy cabinet as much, you're gonna select. So it's an irrelevant conversation. Now, let's go back to the main conversation.
Very quickly, everyone. Sorry, I need to jump in because we're going to miss this if I don't put it up very, very soon. Joe here has put Arsenal into the top 2. He's moved Arsenal into the top 2. It means Man United have to drop down because they only had a £5 bounty on them. Arsenal are now in the top 2. And to move Arsenal out, it is going to cost 30 of your British pounds to remove them. Arsenal fans are stepping up tonight for their team. Chelsea fans are normally very good at this. I don't know what they're doing tonight. They might be a little bit busy.
They're bricking it. They're crying. They're crying right now.
Everyone's still
Can I get my chance to speak? Okay.
Sorry.
First things first. In my opinion, it goes Liverpool, Manchester United at the top. Third, I'll put Arsenal. As of right now, Chelsea would be 4th. But if Man City were to win the final, Chelsea then would be overtaken by Man City, in my opinion, because they try to say the Champions League has so much weight. If it has so much weight for you guys, then it definitely has the same weight for Man City, who have more league titles than you as of this year. So they would overtake you this season. For you guys to overtake us, you need to bridge the gap in league titles. At the same time, they have already bridged that gap and they've overtaken you. Now, these are all factual statements. These are not assumptions. These are, you can look up the numbers. No league cups, none of that stuff combined. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about community shields or anything else. I'm just talking about league titles and European trophies. You guys have more European trophies, but even with your European trophies and our league titles, at the same time, we have more than you. You guys, we could still mathematically in 100 years from now still win a Champions League. You guys would. How long will it take you to win 7 league titles? You tell me that.
Can I respond now?
You go on, Daniel.
Perfect, cool. So you mentioned great points about the number of trophies that you've won, but like we've continuously said, this tiering system is about contemporary times and factoring in not just one criteria of how many trophies you've won, the variety of trophies, so the diversity of your trophies, the fan base, and also your attractiveness. So whether or not there was one player that both clubs want, we're taking players off of Man United, and we're talking about, and you want to bring Arsenal into the conversation. Bro, there's bigger fish to fry for you for other teams, and I'm just saying that Arsenal right now don't really have a seat at the table when it comes to going for the top assets. That's one of the criteria that I don't think you're at the table at.
Okay.
Go on, Adam.
Is this about how good your team is today? Because we all know how good our team is today. It's not that good.
No, contemporary times. We're factoring in the last 20 years. 20 years.
Now, Terry, you're pathetic, bro.
No, wait.
You're pathetic.
Adam. Terry, you're
what is that?
It's on my account.
Adam, what are you saying?
I was just going to say, what players are Manchester United taken off Chelsea? Or Chelsea taken off Manchester United?
I'm saying competing with.
I'd still like to know the names.
Rafael Varane, for example, that's one. I'm not saying we're going to get him, but everyone knows that we're competing with Man United, with Rafael Varane, with Jadon Sancho. I mean, we sucked John Obi Mikel off of Man United, so it's not a misconception that Chelsea can compete when big clubs are going for a certain player. We took Willian when he literally Tottenham paid for his hotel. We took him the next day. So we've seen it happen that Chelsea can go out and get the player that we want in comparison to the bigger clubs. If I can tell you now for free, if Chelsea and Arsenal both want a player, that player is picking Chelsea over Arsenal.
Well, one thing I want to ask though is, when is this cut-off point of these trophies? Because Igal, you always talk about how Liverpool, you're in the caves, you 30 years until you won your first Premier League. Yes. But you man are hitting 20, bruv. You man are hitting 20 years. You guys could easily go 30 years as well. So when is the cut-off point to where you say, well, look at the past, we've won so many? There has to be some point where you got to be like,
so
right.
When is the cutoff point that Manchester City overtake Manchester United? Same question. You can't have it.
No. Wait.
It goes both ways.
Wait. Hang on. Don't basically answer a question with a question. You always say that Liverpool fans. I'm not. It's not verbatim, but I'm paraphrasing. Liverpool fans should shut up because a few years ago you were sitting down in 6th and 7th. You're not a massive club anymore. You make that statement. So to that point, when is the cutoff point? And that includes when Man United have to stop counting some of their 20. So
Okay, so first things first, when I'm talking about Liverpool fans making fun of us being in the situation we're in right now, that's where I bring back the 30 years and the situation.
That's not the question, bro.
Right? No. I'm answering the question because you are saying you are trying to draw the comparison of when I'm defending an argument of the situation we're in now and Liverpool fans throwing salt at us in comparison to them not being a big club. I've never said Liverpool were not a big club. I've never discredited any of their trophies. If you want to talk about trophies, let's do that. Chelsea in their 100-year history, how many league titles? Less than what? What is that? Less than us? Less than everybody here. Only Tottenham and Leicester on this list have less titles than Chelsea, right? Then you go to Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal. We're the 3 biggest clubs. Everybody here knows that. When you try to throw salt at Arsenal, I defend the point specifically that day. If you're talking about 30 years, that is specifically about how they are making fun of our current situation. It's relative.
No, but 30 years
the question still stands, my brother. You haven't answered the question. When is the cut-off point?
But hold on. What I don't get is, why does there have to be a cut-off point?
Like, no, because we're talking about contemporary time.
Because what Gal does, he basically says, like, he talks about the 30-year period of winning nothing. That means Liverpool are not bigger than us, so he's using their history as a negative to keep them down, but then at the same time saying that Arsenal's history
exactly
you can't, those two things can't exist within football debate at the same time. So there is either a cut-off point or there isn't a cut-off point. Which is it? And if there is a cut-off point, then your argument about Arsenal being in front of Chelsea falls apart because you're going to lose a lot of your league titles.
Okay, what is the conversation right now about, Terry? Educate me. What is this about? Is this not about all 6 teams? We're ranking them plus Leicester. Am I wrong?
No, we're ranking who we think should be in the top 6 and who the +1 should be for the football terriers. That's fine.
Right now, based on their current, is it history or is it based on current?
It's based one at a time. Sorry, it's based on partly history, what you've won, what you're doing now, size of your fan base, and the desirability to join you. But that isn't the point. That isn't the point. You have come on it, and your biggest argument for Arsenal being in front of, say, Chelsea is your history. All you've been asked a question about is why do you sometimes use history as a positive for Arsenal, but you use it as a negative for Liverpool? Why, essentially? That's what all you've been asked. But that question was asked of you 7.5 minutes ago. We still haven't had an answer.
Okay. The reason that is when we're discussing our league position and Liverpool fans are throwing salt about our league position, I bring the comparison to their situation 4 to 5 years ago, and then I say have some respect. That's why I bring that up.
Okay.
Now, when we're talking about Terry, now KJ, let me finish. Now, Terry, when you're talking about this argument right now, you've named 4 to 5 criteria, which Arsenal is bigger than every single club on that list, barring Manchester United or Liverpool. So why are you necessarily then throwing salt at Arsenal yourself?
How are you?
He's not throwing salt, bro.
Arsenal don't have more. One of the criteria was like current positions, contemporary things that you've won. You're not above anybody on that list, barring Tottenham. Right?
That's not true. If you take the past 20 years and you take the average league position, Arsenal and Manchester United are top 2.
Stop.
Average league.
Of what?
Guys, just stop. We didn't say the last 20 years was contemporary. We said over the last 5 or so. So you're not. So like in the last 5-6 years, everybody on that list is in front of Arsenal, barring Spurs.
Wait. 5 years. 5 years, really? 5 years. Leicester for 5 years have been better than Arsenal.
They won a league title, bro.
Yes, but we're talking about league position.
No, it's not about league position.
Oh my Lord.
You guys are changing the argument.
Guys. Well, first and foremost, I think it was actually 10 years we said. However, if we talk about league position, then Spurs are above Arsenal because league position-wise, they've been finishing above you for... When's the last time you celebrated St. Tottenham's Day?
Okay, you got me there, but Leicester, no.
No, but it's one or the other.
Exactly.
In the last 5 years, it's like they won a league title, Leicester, right? And you said the other day that league titles are even bigger than Champions League. You have one in that time period. I think you've won, what, 2? How many FA Cups in 5 years have you won? Is it 1 or 2?
Don't change the argument. I said league titles are harder to win than Champions Leagues because it's a competition. That's
so you've obviously placed huge emphasis on the league title.
The league title's harder than an FA Cup as well, then, right?
Yes. So
Leicester winning an FA Cup and the league title in the same time that you've won one FA Cup title is better than Arsenal's achievements in that time period, right?
Yes.
So as I've just said, based on contemporary winning, everyone but Tottenham is in front of Arsenal on that list.
Okay, so then by contemporary winning, then isn't Manchester United also behind Leicester?
I would say that's a fair argument.
And the same thing. For everyone on that list, barring Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool, everyone's behind Leicester. So us, Spurs, and Manchester United in the You're doing yourself, Terry.
No, it's not. That's one criteria, to be honest. I don't understand the argument here. I'm sorry to get annoyed and cutting over everyone. It's one criteria. At the same time, we are still looking at history. We are still looking at all these other things. I don't understand why it's all every time we have a debate on here, we get stuck in the mud on one of the criterias. One. Yeah. Why?
Okay, Terry, look at all 5 criterias and tell me Arsenal's not bigger than Spurs, Leicester, Man City, and Chelsea in all 5 criterias combined.
We put you in the top 6. What are you talking about?
No, but I'm saying we're third.
I'm going to be honest. I think we had a discussion a few weeks ago. Before you came in this chat, I mentioned it. If Man City win the Champions League, for me they're above Chelsea.
But how? Chelsea, that's what I keep asking.
No, that's fine. I did explain earlier. You disagreed, but it's fine. I hear you disagreement. If Chelsea win another Champions League, they're above Arsenal. They are above Arsenal, and it's not even like for me. It's not debatable at that point. Again, forget the Super Cups because they're one-off competitions. Arsenal at that point would have 30 trophies, major trophies, if you want to say League Cups major, and Chelsea would have 25 if you include 2 Champions Leagues. You've got 0 Champions Leagues, European pedigree, and if you include Europa Leagues / UEFA Cups and Cup Winners' Cups, they are miles ahead of you. I think they've got what 4. So it would be 6 European trophies compared to your 1 European trophy.
I do understand that, and like I've said before, listen, Arsenal's history is better than the majority of teams on that list, but it's one of the areas when it comes to contemporary winning, when it comes to size of the fan base. The Chelseas of this world, the Man Cities are closing in fast globally. You know that. How do we know that? Income of the football clubs. I think actually they earn more than you now. And when it comes to desirable, so 3 of the criterias, Arsenal behind the majority of teams on that list, in my opinion. Historically, absolutely in front of people. But my point is, it's why people focus on one area. And that's what I get annoyed about. It's like you're looking at everything. I think Arsenal are bottom end of top 4 in the top 6 as it stands. For me, Spurs have to be the +1. Leicester and Arsenal in the top 6. And then Man United, by the way, if we don't buck our ideas up over the next 4 or 5 years, we'll be dropping into that. We could drop into that top 6 area if the likes of Leicester keep continuing to get better, because we haven't won a major trophy in that time, and we have to bear that in mind. There is no doubt about that. But I don't really understand Igal's argument around Leicester have been in
say one thing,
for 5 years. It's irrelevant for me.
Terry, on that criteria, name all the criterias. Spurs, barring 1, are behind us. Only thing that they're ahead of us on all 5 criteria. No. If you look at every single criteria of the clubs, Spurs,
they're lost.
We put them last.
They're lost.
Okay. Then you take a look at Leicester.
Why are we doing this?
No. Because you said you put us in the top 6. You always say +1. So today I'm coming on here as an Arsenal fan to show everybody.
Stop. I've said all along we called you the +1 for banter. We already ranked and tiered it and put up Spurs in the top as a +1. I don't know what you're coming on here and saying. We agree with you.
Okay, where's Chelsea then?
Chelsea came in top 4.
Okay, now let me argue that point. Is that fair?
What? Okay, yeah. I mean,
go on.
If Chelsea were to bridge the gap between Arsenal's league titles, it would take them how many years to win 7 league titles?
7 years, obviously.
7 years minimum, right? If Arsenal got their act together, how many years would it take us to win 1 Champions League hypothetically?
8 years. Longer than Chelsea.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You know what? It's silly, but it's fair. Like, it makes sense.
No,
my point is, please. I know. But I just want to allow it, because the point I want to make is the reason why I'm just not subscribing to your line of argument is because there would be no debate. Like, Leicester are in this conversation because of what they have done recently, how well they are as a team recently, contemporary times, the Premier League that they won, the FA Cup that they've won, and obviously you've put the emphasis on that league title. So really and truly, you can't say Arsenal are bigger than Chelsea because of how many trophies that they've won, but Arsenal are then lower than Leicester because of da-di-da-di-da. Do you know what I'm saying now?
What I would say to this as well, though, the experiment's been done, Igal. Because barring the last 20 years, Arsenal were always one of the best teams in England for what, 100 years? and you didn't win a Champions League when you had your act together. So we already know. So you can sit there and say, if Arsenal got back to their best, we would win. We would win a Champions League before you won another 7 league titles. Well, that isn't true. The experiment's been done, and Chelsea have got 5 league titles in the same time that you've won no Champions Leagues. And 100 times 0 is 0. So in another 100 years, Chelsea will have at least another 5 trophies based on what's actually happened in history.
Okay, so based on that, then Manchester United is a smaller club than Liverpool because Liverpool have 6 and Manchester United have 3.
Based on what?
Based on your argument about Champions League.
Let's go back again. You're doing it again, and I have been triggered tonight. You are bringing it down to one common denominator for all your answers. If you're talking European success, everyone who knows football knows Liverpool are bigger than Man United. But the criteria isn't just Champions Leagues. It's Champions Leagues, league titles, fan base size, contemporary winning, and desire to join. When you factor all them things in, I still think Man United are ahead of Liverpool. If it was just on Champions Leagues, I wouldn't argue it because you'd be a prick to do that. So why would I do it? I don't understand why you come on here looking for these gotcha moments, the smoking gun moments, when there's a multiple criteria. All you've done is focus on one. By the way, hypocrisizing the whole way along, because it's the one thing that puts Chelsea below Leicester is the one thing that makes Arsenal bigger and better than this club. It's like,
literally. That's my point.
But Terry,
but that's why I love you, Igal. And you, once I've got some super chats here. Tahir has said, put Liverpool back in the top 2 and put Chelsea in the +1. It's going to cost £30 to move Chelsea because somebody paid £30 for it. So that's £20 remaining on their heads. So I've got to be respectful to that super chat there. Simon says, put Man United in the top 2 and put Arsenal out. Arsenal are already out. So that's another £20 on Man United, which means it's going to cost £35 to get rid of Man United out of the top 2, according to the super chat. Simon's super chat's already gone past. I can't put it up on the screen. You were going to say something, Igal. Sorry.
I'm not coming on here to disrespect anybody. I literally am pinpointing when you bring up an argument to take against my argument. You tell me to answer one question on one point, and when I bring up one point against what you're saying you can't do that. You have to look at all 5.
No, so again, you're twisting there again, mate. So if someone says to you, KJ's question, where do you cut off history? That's a question to you. We have set a criteria of 4/5 subject matters into the feeding into who the biggest clubs are. So you have to take all those things into consideration when you're tiering people. If you say something along the lines of Man United are smaller than Liverpool because you've got less European trophies, but you still think Arsenal are bigger than Chelsea, we can question you and say, well, based on your logic for why Man United are behind Liverpool, Chelsea have to be in front of Arsenal. That's you again pinpointing things. No one else has done that on this show.
Okay, you want to know my order? My order, personally, my order is Liverpool number 1, Manchester United number 2, Arsenal number 3, Chelsea number 4, Man City number 5, Tottenham is 6th. Leicester would be ahead of them in my opinion. Based on Leicester? If you want to change anything, in my opinion, you could change Leicester or Spurs. That's up to you. You can change Chelsea and Man City. That's up to you. But everything else for me has to stay the same
Man United
until you bridge the gap. The trophy count. When the Manchester United Liverpool argument happens, they do count these smaller trophies like League Cup.
So why are you not factoring in size, fan base size?
Because I was told you cannot factor in size of fan base.
I don't care what you've been told. This is our debate. It's based on our criteria. I don't care what another channel. Someone keeps saying, that's what I don't understand. You're coming on here and arguing points that don't exist within the framing of this debate. Okay, I don't care what other channels are doing, bro. We set criteria. You can't come on and scale it without using that criteria.
Okay, because people always say to me that when you're having a conversation about your team being a bigger club, you should be talking about what's on the pitch. And every time that I try to bring up fans, as an Arsenal fan, I always get thrown down. So I stopped as a deflection, so I don't get caught out in that argument. It's almost become a defense mechanism not to speak about fan base, in my sense. You get that?
If you're talking about, sorry, Neeks, if you're talking about who's better right now, Chelsea or Arsenal, it's an irrelevance to mention fan base size. But if we're talking about who sits in the top 6 and people set a criteria and fan size and popularity is part of it, no one's going to call you an idiot for mentioning it because it's in the argument.
Okay.
Can I just say,
Arsenal wins.
What you should have done is the first thing is ask what the criteria of the debate was. Because obviously you came in late and you didn't, and you come in arguing criteria of previous debates. And
wait, Nix,
we're not arguing. So that's what you should have done first. Argue, see what the criteria is, and then base it on that. Or you could say, well, I don't agree with that criteria, and put your argument to that. But yeah, there we are.
What are the 5 criteria? Because I came in late as well. I don't.
Don't you listen? But people don't listen.
I wasn't listening to the. I just came on. I came on right now.
I love my viewers. I love my panelists. If you're gonna phone into a show, please understand what's going on first.
Put it in the description of the video so people, when they're watching the video, they can see it.
Or maybe just freaking listen. It's not freaking hard.
Do you know what I do? Legitimately, a gal. Like, do you know what I love about this? People like, I did get rattled. I did because I'm just sitting there. Like, you know why I got rattled? Do you know why I got rattled on a real level?
Where's my money? Where's my money, Terry? You said if anyone could get you rattled.
That's on a debate about different stuff. Again, a different subject matter. Oh my God! Oh, you are a madman. Yes, not a debate. Wow. I said, was it about I give a $5,000 if someone could get me rattled on the Ollie out debate? This ain't an Ollie out debate, bro. Listen, it was because you come on and it was like you were arguing about singularities, and we literally spent like 20 minutes on the show discussing that it wasn't about singularities. So my head was like, I can't believe I'm going through this again. We have a super chat from Noz, he put £20 in earlier and come back and said, put some respect on Sir Alex Ferguson GOAT. That's random, but thank you. I appreciate that, my guy.
The Arsenal manager.
There's a new documentary out, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
He was almost the Arsenal manager in '83, by the way, just to let you guys know.
Say that again?
Sir Alex Ferguson almost was the Arsenal manager, so he could have been an Arsenal great. Another one we missed out on.
When? Yeah.
What's
the point with it?
In 1983, he met with the Arsenal board at Highbury. In 1983, he met with the Arsenal board in Highbury, and instead he chose to stay for another 2 years before he went to Manchester United.
Aberdeen, because he wanted to win European trophies.
You know what it is, yeah? Arsenal are always that nearly club, bro. Oh, we nearly signed Sir Alex. We nearly signed Ronaldo. We nearly signed Mbappe, bro. Good players, and say you signed them, man.
By the way, viewers, 5 minutes left of the stream. If you want to make any changes, any impacts or anything else to this, 5 minutes to get your super chats in. It really is. By the way, Gal, your points around why you think a club's bigger or not, like there's nothing wrong with them. It's just, as we say, it's based on what we were. Someone here says Terry definitely has anger issues. Yeah, sometimes, but get over it. Simple as that. Igal's crazy. I love the comments. Igal's crazy. Igal isn't crazy. He just didn't listen. That's not a sign of being crazy. It's just not listening or not knowing quite what's going on. Smash the like button for Igal is what Twisted Bubba says. A comment here says Igal is right. Why kicked out of the Champions League into the Europa League is not subject matter. United have been kicked out from the Champions League.
So as Man City
in the Champions League originally anyway.
You know what's funny? Yeah, guess what? Any team that doesn't win the Champions League gets kicked out of the Champions League. Who knew how knockout tournaments work?
Yeah. If Chelsea lose the final, they're out of the Champions League.
Can I ask you one question, Terry? I'm sorry to bring this back. It's really been bothering me. Mathematically, if Chelsea have to win 7 league titles to catch up to us, and Arsenal have to win 1 league title, 1 Champions League to catch up to them, which one is mathematically harder to achieve?
No, wait 1 sec. But
no, David, I'm not talking to you. Sorry, Daniel, I'm not talking to you. Let Terry.
You're gonna get a silly answer like
mathematically, based on what though? Because I need all the
based on math. But that's why it's a silly question, because obviously based on maths, 7 is harder than 1. But based on the context, when Arsenal were at their best, they didn't win the Champions League.
That's the
what
thing.
makes them think they're going to win the Champions League again? Where in the same time, Chelsea can win 7 titles in 100 years because we've done that.
And you have to factor in the fact that Chelsea are in a better position compared to Arsenal right now.
I'm going to go like this. Chelsea act like big clubs don't win Champions Leagues. You know what? Atletico Madrid is one of the biggest clubs in the history of football, and they've never won.
No, they're not, though.
Let's be
real.
real.
They're not, bro.
Let's be real.
No, they're not.
Hey, Gal,
Okay.
I love you. Spurs have been put into the +1. City are now up into the top 6. It's pretty much what Gal said. It's actually it's not how Gal wanted it, barring Chelsea, Liverpool probably stopping around
The guy
there.
always comes in and stares the debate in his direction. Look at it, got the tear going as well.
I love it. I love it. Listen, brother, you enjoy the rest of your day. I know you're with family, my guy. Go and enjoy yourself, my friend, and I'll speak to you soon, buddy. Take care, mate. Thank you. A lot of people in the comments agreeing with the Gal's take on things, though, which is fair. All I would say to all of them is
it's a factor of a lot of things, and we need to be a little bit.
Gal's right about one of the criterias, but he's just factoring out there are other. It's like saying the best footballer in the world is the one who's got the best control. Do you know what I mean? Taking away, it's true, but you can find Berbatov was World Player of the Year for 10 years, best control around. But it's not. It's more than one thing. But you're right about the one criteria. Liverpool to top 2. Liverpool can't go into the top 2, my guy, because Chelsea have got £20 on them.
Talk to you later.
See that 35 on them. 10 seconds to go to make any changes. Get your changes in. Oh, Prime's here, by the way. Hello, Prime.
Oh, Prime.
Hello.
We've literally got 30 seconds to go. 30 seconds left, and we're counting down. If you want to make any changes to the tiering system today, Conor McGregor should be in the top 4. That's a strange comment to make. Keep it coming.
Well, Prime, what is your top 7? 6 plus 1.
I'm putting United top. Then I go Chelsea, City, Liverpool. And then with the bottom 3 is like Arsenal, Leicester, Spurs, but within that, Leicester has to be above. And I think Arsenal and Spurs are somewhat on the same level because comparative-wise, as bad as Arsenal have been, because in their opinion they've been better than Spurs because Spurs haven't won anything in their glory year or in their best squad ever or whatever. They think it's okay, but yet they don't rate Spurs anyway. So I think who's 6 and 7 between them to me doesn't personally matter. But yeah, that would be my criteria. That would be my order.
Man,
there we go. Yeah, go on, mate.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
Harry Kane has told Tottenham he wants to leave this summer.
Told you all. Like, that's an official transfer.
Happen.
He saw Vardy win that FA Cup and he said, I'm done.
Mate, where's that come from? Where's that been broke from?
Sky Sports.
I'm just one of those things where I am completely and utterly unsurprised. Mainly because it was just under a year ago that he did the. Do you remember he did the
Instagram live? Yeah.
He just said, "I want to win." He was always
kept saying trophies like 4 times. Yeah.
You know what? Whenever I keep hearing the Spurs press go, Levy won't do it. He's too much money. Money talks. But on top of that, when a player puts in that official transfer request, it changes the perception. It changes the situation. It changes everything. And the fact that he's done it, is doing it. It's now, where does he go? Do you know what it is? All day I've been like, I don't really want Harry Kane at United. Now that news has come out, I'm like, oh, I love him.
I want him by all means.
I would. There we go. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, everyone who's super chatted, thank you. Daniel, Ram, KJ, Neeks, Egal, Prime. Who else came on at some point? Adam jumped on as well. All the callers from earlier on in the show. Thank you very, very much this evening. I'm going to go cool down now after and Egal rattled me. I'm going to speak to
Egal's funny.